Yo, it's me again. I'm watching ND with Owen and my dad.
So it's starting to look like AMD is the better, provided they can deliver a good experience. It means that in time, they rely on
Turn to AMD to my list.
or legitimate work-related reasons, which is why I've been using NVIDIA for so long. That changes.
Juan, try
So
to
what
stop
system
me.
and what AMD card are you using? Well,
What?
this is where I have to take some
What
necessary
AMD
precautions to
card?
make this as relevant as possible for you guys.
That's that bitch.
This
There,
is my
right?
main edit.
That's that bitch.
Introducing your champion.
That's that bitch.
They say death catches up to everyone. He can certainly try.
I'm the jump master. No straying
Got
now.
a skin bag out there. I'm the jump master. I'm gonna land on someone's neck. Time to kill. I see a target in the distance.
Are you throwing right now? What's happening?
I'm going there. Stay out of my way. Never mind that.
I don't know what this is. I'm just trying to go off the black card.
The entire system would be all AMD. But as you can imagine, there's not a lot that I do with this system outside of a few very specific things that most people can relate to, which brings us on to the Nexus,
Attention.
which
First
many
blood.
of you have probably seen before in a different form. This used to be my Encase M1 build that I have been using and upgrading for a few years now. Moved the whole system into the O11 Mini a couple months back and upgraded the GPU to the 4070 Ti in preparation for
Listen
this
up,
video
the ring be
to
closing in
experience
1 minute.
NVIDIA frame generation as more of a first-hand account for me personally instead of just testing it over at the test bench. This will be especially useful with AMD recently releasing this frame
I'm done.
The reason I wanted to preview
If it makes you feel any better, my fans love you.
Realistically, do most of the days on that computer is script write, research, Photoshop, and light usage of Premiere Pro. So AMD needs to be able to handle that for me to keep the card in my system. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to revert back to NVIDIA, but I guess we'll find out. It has a 5800X CPU, which is very popular, and would make the entire system AMD to get the full experience. So now we just need a GPU to put in there, and I have shortlisted two options. This was my original choice, the 6950 XT. I really wanted to go for this card as it's a prime example of the AMD NVIDIA conundrum. Because it dropped from 1100 to around 5 to 600, I've been recommending it as the best value high-end card for months, before the release of the 7800 XT, which at $500 was a solid recommendation in our best value GPU series. Both of these cards
I got a 5800X.
a bit faster than the 3080 and a bit slower than the 4070 Ti I upgraded to, but both are considerably cheaper than either of the Nvidia cards, unless you were buying them. So it really is a toss-up here. But I like the 7800 XT, and it's the latest generation, while also likely to be an extremely popular card this time around, making this entire experiment more relatable for you guys. And given that it is a new card, if AMD's track record is anything to go by, I'm expecting the performance to increase over time, as it has done with the 6950 XT. Though driver stability is likely going to be worse on the 7800 XT, given that it's a new architecture, which could be a negative for my experience, but would be a positive for this video, and you guys getting a real understanding of the experience I'm having, and whether you can put up with it, whether we're getting massive driver issues that just really should be avoided. So I'm meaning 7800.
We're in this together. Remember that.
As we recently rescued this and she loves it.
Everything comes from the underground. Try not to go back to us today. Where we're going? We don't need seatbelts.
But I'm going to let Luna decide between these two cards in the most unbiased way possible. Good game. 7800.
Introducing your champion.
Let's put this card into our system and check out some of the gameplay differences between Nvidia and AMD. Now that's how I fully embrace it. 1 VB later to uninstall the Nvidia drivers, and it is time to install the AMD card. Now I'm expecting this to go reasonably smoothly and not that much bigger, but roughly the same size with the 4070 Ti. Might have to do a bit, but what we're going to need is a chopstick. This is a pro tool. I'll show you what. There we go. And now we can remove the GPU without scratching. Get one. So if the, and I'll show you that. There we go. And now you can remove the GPU without scratching. Get one. So,
Hell yeah!
then once we install this, what should happen is 3, 2, 1. Now install the Number one is figuring out what broke in the process and imagining that there will be like maintenance, and then some of the issues that I was having with the video I could solve the same part, but I'm also assuming that there will be some issues.
Attention.
So we're going to take it later, because we just do some gameplay.
The battle happens quick. Be ready.
Sweet. We're already inside the next ring.
But let's find out what the differences are between this GPU and the 4070 I just referenced. Take a look. So what I think is the fairest thing to do right here is to leave as much as possible on default or auto to get a raw user experience from each user. Typically I am far more strict about this for benchmarks, but as most people will just see dropping their card and play, I want to have the same experience that you would to make this video as relevant as possible for you. But before we game, let's figure out what issues AMD fixed and see if they cause anything to get worse.
Spitfire here.
The first thing that I want to do is if I fix the biggest issue I was facing while the Nvidia GPU was installed. I will test everything before the follow-up video, but the issue that's had the greatest potential.
Get in outdoors. I'm leaving out.
So having done that,
Ducking out here.
running an application and setting the timer.
Who are you shooting at?
It is time to test. Now go to sleep.
Extra supplies over here.
Perfect. Something to do with Nvidia, or at least something to do with Windows and Nvidia, which is kind of the same thing. So
We're already in the next ring.
to save me hundreds of dollars from monitors dying prematurely, which I'm extremely happy about. But there was another issue that was trying to fix that didn't go as smoothly for AMD. Remember the webcam freezing? Yeah, it does
Health drone if you need it.
As I did a fresh Windows install trying to fix it.
Come on, get here. Time to make style on these roads.
There was one more issue that almost stopped this entire video right here.
Bailing out here. Looks like a care package is coming in. Big things in that.
What I've been doing for screen capture
Evo
is
shield here. Level 2.
Now they do an external capture because this produces an extremely high quality video file while also taking none of the computer's resources. But the issue that we're facing at the moment with the AMD card is that I typically mirror the main display
Evo shield
to
here.
that.
Level 2.
And it's not picking it up. There is one thing that I want to double check.
I think we should go over here.
Hopefully it can... What? Oh, there we go. Okay. Great. Once we got past that mini roadblock, it is time to see some of the differences, which presented a bit of an issue for a couple things I wanted to test. One odd thing in Cyberpunk was that the frame rates would not go above 60. There was no frame rate limiter, and VSync was off in both the game and the Adrenaline application. In fact, it was happy going over 60 if it wasn't the active window, and my cursor was hovering over
We have a
the
new kill leader.
creating the heartbeat of a GPU, apparently. The way to get around this was to change to exclusive full screen in Cyberpunk. Yeah. Reaver statistics worked with no issue, other than losing the GPU power metric, which was also the case for hardware input. It might just be because the card is new, as the Adrenaline software was reporting it, and shows that between the two cards, the 4070 Ti is currently the better option for idle power draw, even though it's a more powerful
Extended sniper mag here. Level 3.
1/3 the power consumption of the AMD card, and the differences don't stop there. We won't really be looking at average FPS much
Extended
because
energy
that's
mag
kind of a
here.
bit
Hostile
aggressive,
spotted.
but I am interested to see stuff like frame consistency, and even differences in visual quality.
Setting up a
Because you'd
respawn
expect
beacon.
the monitor to just output the same visuals, regardless of the GPU, but there can be visual differences between AMD and Nvidia. And you have to
Calling in a lifeline package.
generation, which is pure black and white. You'll notice the colour output is slightly different. They were both recorded in the same way, on my external recorder. Neither have HDR enabled, but they definitely do look different. To me, the Nvidia one looks moodier and more saturated, which I kind of like, but really does lose visual clarity in very light or very dark environments. Compared to the AMD, it retains much more visual detail at the end. It carries into upscaling. Though Nvidia typically has the ability to use both FSR and DLSS, the Nvidia proprietary upscaler,
through the mundane.
FSR really should work on both AMD and Nvidia. But when we take a look at this side, on the specs, the Nvidia card really struggled to render it at a distance. This was by far the most noticeable mistake in all of the runs, whereas the AMD card did a much better job here, in terms of rendering accuracy. However, many other elements of the scene were sharper for Nvidia while using FSR, though you are far more likely to use this time in the marginally sharper accuracy. And there were several other examples of Nvidia being sharper but less clear. But going back to the video differences, this building is by far the most noticeable. This is just way too bright for Nvidia. Kicking the Nvidia card into DLSS mode, the sign that rendered much better for AMD now renders better for Nvidia. And this was the same for other examples that I saw. DLSS generally do a better job, at least in our Cyberpunk test so far. So in this example, FSR is
Deploying health drone. Next ring's not close.
Replicator on its way down.
FSR better on AMD, and DLSS slightly better. So the quality of the frames is only really half the story, isn't it? Because a good gaming experience very rarely relies on visuals alone, and arguably far more important is consistency. And this is where AMD surprisingly
Gotta get back in formation,
even
people.
rotating with upscaling, which is where Nvidia is supposed to be fundamentally superior, especially in an Nvidia's game. This is a side-by-side of ray tracing 4070 Ti using DLSS.
Taking fire.
Stream Elements.
Focusing on me.
Thank you for following Josh Rubby01.
Thank you
Smiley
for following,
face.
Josh. Thank you,
About a minute.
Josh.
Farm. We got recharging shields. New kill leader. Taking out it. Getting shot.
stutters, you feel it.
Love it.
And that's really quite an important difference. That really helps the
Hold on,
fluidity of the
I'm
game.
healing.
So we have covered
45
a lot
seconds
here,
to put
but
yourself in
we've
the ring.
only really scratched the
Frog
surface
out.
of comparing AMD to NVIDIA. So
Firing. Taking fire.
Which one has been better for you so far, and what we will cover in our long-term test.
Recharging shields.
30 seconds, rings close.
Cracked shields on that band-aid.
Josh Rubby 01. Hagam PEAC, Hagam PEAC, Hagam PEAC, Hagam PEAC, Hagam PEAC.
Recharging shields.
Josh Rubby 01. What's good, guys?
What's good, Josh?
It's
I
close.
don't know what the other part that you said was.
Under fire. Cracked bogey shield.
Reload.
Reloading. Charging on my shield. Getting shot.
What the fuck? I can't even get your backside right here.
My shields need a bit more power.
Josh Rubby 01.
Coming down.
I'm cool. Josh Rubby 01. WBU.
I'm healing.
Thanks, Josh. Let's go.
Nah, I need to use this Phoenix kit. I've got you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
how about no more dying today? Under fire.
Here's your birthday present.
Last one, bogey down.
Recharge.
Another squad is on us. I'm here. So let's get you a do-over, huh?
I don't know, there was two over there.
Yeah, but on paper, that is still a big improvement.
I didn't know there was two over there. Man, this shoulder is just getting worse by the day. Flat, though.
Elvis 77 says,
But what about
Scrappy
feature
sucks.
games? Is it worth
Josh Rubby 01.
to get better ray tracing?
Hagam LOVE, Hagam LOVE, Hagam LOVE.
Anything to go by.
Oh, Thomas
You're
the
probably
toy
gonna need
engine.
GPU.
I don't know what that thing is.
And that's why I have never advocated.
It looks like Thomas the
so much
Toy
money
Engine
on
from
ray tracing. It fundamentally
the screen that I can see it on.
But what does make sense is the fact that
Mr. Emoji!
between the two GPUs,
Are you on? Where are you sending those on? Oh, you're sending them through Twitch.
I've got one
I
for
get it.
I also could
That's
have
why they're showing up.
2900 instead, but the conclusion would be the same at price parity. And then I spent the same amount, we've got more performance from it. If there is something, I get more value for my money. With that extra money, I have planned some great upgrades for my system, which is suffering from small form factor with case syndrome, but all of the components will be linked together next year. The only question is, will the AMD card provide? Well, provided that I don't run into some major issues in my long-term testing, I will be happy to keep it. And this isn't even AMD fanboyism. I am mostly happy with NVIDIA, at least their performance, with several other computers that I own. And that likely won't be changing for any of them, not anytime soon. But I'm excited to give AMD a solid chance here. So I'm going to try and cover everything else in the next video, everything there. Hopefully there'll be a list right there. Then if there is something that you would have wanted to see here, or something that you want to see next time, let me know in the comment section below. I want to make these videos as relevant
If you're with me, I'm with
and
you.
make sure that I am answering the right questions. Otherwise, to get my current unfiltered thoughts about each
Wanna fly, compadre? Let's fly.
whether investigate content coming from NVIDIA, AMD, or Intel, and then
That Monarch gave up more than its battery, so I could stand here.
check out. Otherwise, guys, share, like, subscribe. They are always appreciated, and I hope you have an amazing
This is your champion.
I never say die. I fight until it hurts. I like that. Good, I'm the jump master.
GG.
You're gonna see a lot of me.
This video brought to you by
And if all this wasn't bad enough,
Man, I
you're
don't
gonna
want
miss
to
a
be
killer
Jump
sunset.
Master.
by
Having a bad
I'm
day, I
Jetmaster.
learned.
Remember,
Indra.
any weapon is better than no weapon.
A fully loaded F-16 is a
It's
force
all you,
to be
team.
reckoned.
I'm the
Their
one with a stronger
superiority
current.
machine Countries the world over use to control their skies. A low-cost, lightweight, single-engine fighter specifically designed to outmaneuver its opponents while carrying state-of-the-art missiles that
Jumping! Remember to keep your mouth closed for bugs.
The F-16 was born out of the Vietnam War. Large, heavy, complex U.S. fighters, the F-4 Phantom, even more. Of course, the F-4 found itself in peril frequently, had a significant disadvantage taking on smaller, maneuverable Soviet-made MiGs, even in its air force.
Where are we going?
The MiG-21 was a small,
Trent.
It'd be a good idea to go there.
the F-4 was fast.
Say what? We're all inside this ring.
From the Soviet MiG-21s frequently moved around, under radar, and ambushed
45 seconds, ring just up ahead.
attacking one with their ATOL infrared guided missiles, then using their low-speed maneuverability to outturn. From August 1967 to February 1968, U.S. losses in Vietnam
Rings around the corner and we've got 30
losing
seconds.
18 aircraft while downing just 5. For a nation accustomed to absolute air superiority, something was up. The MiG-21's introduction in 1966
Got some materials here.
its large heavy fighter bombers. while
First
these
blood.
were
Good
an
thing it's
enough.
not us.
advantage against
Got materials, Michael Kapati.
planes. It's
The
something
ring is
needed.
near, but it closes in 10.
The Red Baron Study, commissioned by the U.S. military, began to identify
And your
threats
next
that
champion
technical
is right
issues
here.
possibly had lost U.S. Navy and Air Force were experiencing
We'll be
in
toasted by the ring if we don't move.
and their findings led to the development of one of the world's most ubiquitous fighter planes, a plane designed with a new physics-based doctrine at its core. Entering service in 1978 and standing the test of time, it is now confirmed that the aircraft
Go and
will be
check it.
entering the
Got some
battlefield
materials for us.
taking on the modern-day counterparts of the MiG. This is the insane engineering of the F-16.
Extra supplies here. I'll share.
The F-16 was built from the ground up. This classified
Medkit here. Stay
1966
healthy.
paper as
You hear that? There's a care package coming down.
Mathematical models, graphs, and equations designed to answer
Shield cell
one
here.
question: how to
Shield
win
cell here.
close
That's
quarters
the one I
battle.
can't get to you.
Created with the help of military supercomputers, they've defined a new concept: energy maneuverability. Created by Colonel
Passing.
John
Under
Horton,
the lounge.
Air Force veteran of the Vietnam War, and one of the members of the so-called Fighter Mafia, with the help of a civilian mathematician, Thomas Christian. These graphs were the basis for defining a plane's maneuverability through its full range of speeds: Mach number, x-axis, turn rate, y, a theory underlined by the management of both kinetic and potential energy, speed, and altitude. In order to change direction, a fighter aircraft must trade energy
Heavy ammo
from
here.
these reservoirs, and doing it
Here's your
as
birthday
efficiently as
present.
possible is the key to outmaneuvering your enemy. This is energy
Hold on, scrapping.
16. It's a complicated graph to read without some basic understanding. This line is defined as the maximum lift. This is important because it determines the maximum turn rate at a particular speed in its region. In a needle
Evo shield here. Level
to
2.
begin a turn, the aircraft will roll in the direction of the turn.
missing something.
This splits the lift the plane is generating into two components: a horizontal component that causes the plane to turn, and a vertical component that keeps the plane in the sky. A steeper bank angle will increase the horizontal component and increase our turn rate, while stealing lift from the vertical component.
Would love
This
to see that on
vertical
replay.
component needs to equal the weight of the aircraft or the plane at its altitude. To compensate for that, lift while increasing the angle of attack. This is where the maximum lift issue arises. More lift means more available force to turn. To determine the max turn rate from F-16
Look at the headphones right
on,
now.
we simply draw a line straight up and across to our turn rate.
Charging
15 degrees
battery.
per second. Now this is where things get interesting.
Rethinking our
This is
strategy.
the graph
How about
for
moving there?
F4E. At the same speed, the F4 will make a maximum turn of just 5 degrees per second. To to determine a sustained turn, we look to this line.
Attention, there is a new kill leader.
The loss of altitude is required.
New kill leader. Eyes out for
You
him.
can see the F-16's best sustained turn.
Oh yeah, no one landed here either.
Per second at 0.85 Mach at 7 G. The F4's best sustained turn is 10 degrees per second at 0.85 Mach at 5 G. This is what that looks like in practice. It takes the F-16 25 seconds to complete a full 360-degree turn, while it takes the F4 36 seconds, 11 seconds in difference. The F-16 was a radical way of thinking of a fighter aircraft, and that design philosophy can be seen
Phoenix Kit here.
in engineering design to deal with supersonic flow. To learn more about the F-16, we spoke with an F-16 test pilot.
So the F-16 inlet is one of the things that tells you about the design philosophy of the aircraft. Because up until that point, the thought process was we wanted to go faster, we wanted to go higher. And nobody stopped to ask why. Because it turns out that not a lot of fights, not a lot of close combat was happening in that Mach 2 plus range. In fact, very little of it was happening, and it didn't have huge amount of tactical application. And so, as John Boyd and the rest of the team was looking at this lightweight fighter design, in the F-16, they said, well, where do we think this
Open door here. Personally, I prefer
them
them closed.
Round 2.
Somewhere three or something.
Probably going to be somewhere in that
Next ring's far. Not for me, but there for you.
1.2 Mach. That's really where
Here's drone. Got some materials here.
the jet. And we
Got a
see that
replicator coming
here
down.
in terms of the specific excess power chart, where it's got this advantage right here in that range of 0.8 Mach to 1.2 Mach. That's where the fat part of the chart sits. That's where you're fat on energy. That's where you have that advantage. And so the F-16
Got materials for us.
is not
Check it.
optimized to go.
Got evacuator out.
That's what the F-16 has to do. Not gas. You can go that fast.
Is that a squad?
In that what we call transonic regime of 0.8
Gonna get you out there, Ted Press.
Hold on.
And you can see that
Evo shield. Level 3. How's
Evo shield here. Level 2.
It goes sort of along the cheeks of the aircraft forward, and then the actual inlet is set back. And what that's designed to do is attach a shockwave to the front of that
45
inlet,
seconds.
and
We
then
could just
it
walk
goes
in.
Level 2.
backwards and expands along the body, and that shockwave is basically going to cover up the inlet. That
Fucking
has
come
some
on up.
thermodynamic effects in terms of pressure
Evo shields here.
recovery.
Level 2.
Care package over there. Let's get on that.
Not far from the ring. Half a minute.
To your turbine. You have supersonic airflow hitting the front face of that jet engine. The jet engine is going to disintegrate. It's designed to ingest subsonic airflow, and so you have to attach that shockwave at the front of the
Light
inlet.
ammo here.
That's
Rings
how it
around the
gets
Phoenix
slowed
Kit
down
here.
the airflow to eventually enormous
Optics
shock
here.
inside the inlet,
Sniper.
expand a little bit, and then just the front face of the compressor. The fan face of the compressor. The F-16 is
In progress.
Listen up, the ring's moving.
It's basically a flat face air scoop. It is not that sort of overhang with
Barrel
a lip
stabilizer here.
and then
Level 3.
an inlet that's further back, like you see on the F0 or the F18 or the F14,
Care package. Sweet.
the Big 29, yes, 27. All of those have more of that inlet that's set up to put an oblique shockwave across from the inlet. Those are designed to go faster. The F-16 has a little bit of that. If you look at it on side view, you can see how it's got a little bit of
Sure,
a
split
overhang
up.
with it,
Let's hurry
and
up
the
and we
nose
group.
helps to attach a shockwave. But
Over here. Got a mobile respawn beacon. Heat
to
shield
go
here.
above Mach 1.2, and that's okay actually. It can go that fast. It can go faster, but the engine is working a little bit harder as
Enemy spotted.
1.4 or 1.5 Mach compared to something like an F4 or an F15. That's where they start to really stretch their legs and run.
These designs for optimizing maneuverability at these speeds can be seen elsewhere too. Its air intake
Extended heavy mag here. Level 3. Heavy ammo here.
intakes the F4 and the thin, elongated wing that blends smoothly into the fuselage. These wing extensions forward of the main wing. These are called leading edge strakes. This air intake ensured the F-16's engine was not starved of air during high angle of attack maneuvers, with the forebody of the aircraft helping to funnel and divert air directly into the air intake. However, this does come with some problems that needed to be engineered.
50% of the teams are down.
On
I
takeoff,
want to keep getting better.
it's only 100 centimeters off the ground. This combined with thin walls made placement of the landing gear
Round 3. Beginning
forward
ring
landing gear
countdown.
could not be mounted ahead of the air intake.
Pay
as it
attention,
would
some of
take
us
up
aren't
the
inside the ring.
and they couldn't fit into the wings either, as the thin, aerodynamically optimized wing
Replicator
didn't have
being
enough
delivered.
space. The F-16's landing
Replicator
gear
on its
was
way.
stored just behind the air intake, and in order to provide enough stability and bracing for
9
landing,
squads,
they need a
someone's
unique holding
respawning
mechanism
over
to
the
swing them outward
ridge.
to create as large a wheelbase as possible. The front landing gear, which is steerable during
Open
passing,
door here.
also rotates 90
Still
degrees to
motherfucking
lie
long
flat
range.
just under the engine inlet. Above the inlet is a boundary layer diverter channel. This ensures the engine gets
Come and get your birthday
well.
present.
As air travels along the length of the aircraft, it forms a layer.
Let's go down. Enemy spotted.
The engine, it not only lowers performance, it can also damage the engine. As the turbine
Evo
rotates,
shield here.
it will pass
Level
through
2.
the slow boundary air on one side, and then the fast free-spinning air on the other. This means
Phoenix
the
kit
force
here.
on the turbine blades changes for each and every rotation, causing cyclical bending, a recipe for fatigue failure. This boundary layer diverter separates this layer and diverts it underneath
Check
the
it.
wing.
Fly.
All
Target
this
over
ensures
there.
The engine can operate as high at thrust as possible.
Hostile
even
close.
when the F-16 is performing extreme maneuvers, which is exactly when it is needed most, as the plane bleeds energy to produce lift. It's essential that a plane like this continue to generate effective lift during these
I've spotted an enemy. They're far.
whenever the wings are extended, the angle of attack increases.
Looks like a care package is coming in. Big things in that.
This is called a
So
stall.
we got the 3 squads
These leading
force.
edge strengths help to mitigate.
Spotted
They
an
act
enemy.
similar
There.
to the canards of the Su-34. One of the planes, the F-16, will likely be going up against in Ukraine. 19 of them reportedly being taken down thus far.
Care package over there. Let's get
Oh,
on that.
shit.
Canards
Eyes
and
up.
leading edge strengths help reduce lift.
Watch for
during
them to
high
drop
angle
on it.
attack maneuvers. Canards placed close to the wing, like the
Hostile spotted. Cancel that.
A vortex that passes over the wing, ensuring
Hostile over there.
Rival there. Waste the distance. During the development of the F-16, General Dynamics did consider a canard
Got him.
configuration,
Enemy
testing
shield broken.
different configurations and geometries, including
Reloading.
versions of nose trays or canards, subscale models, wind tunnels, testing through
Grenade.
Contact with hostile.
I knew there was a team there.
At least you only have to feel it once in your lifetime.
weaken these high angle attack surfaces. Just sharpen the edge in order to strengthen it. The F-16 was aware that the and this comes with an added benefit. Combined F-16's powerful cannon. You can see the barrel of M61 holding height here, a minor clue to the weapon hidden within the fuselage of the new plane. One of the early conclusions of the Red Baron report is that the lackluster armament of the M4 compete in close quarter battles. It lacked an internal cannon, which left the F4 out of options.
Took a hit from you, right?
Where missiles could not be safely used. The F4 was eventually recognized M61 slung underneath the plane, but the F-16, looking to fix the problem at the time, came with General Dynamics M61 Vulcan rotary Gatling gun as standard, and this was immediately beside the plane, creating minimal aerodynamic
We're already
drag.
inside the next ring. Good strategizing.
M61 is the smaller cousin of the A-10's GAU-8A, but while its rounds are tiny in comparison, the noise it emits still packs a punch. A barrel cannon fires from your top position, spinning 16 times per second. Gatling gun spews 1.5 rounds per second. With an ammunition drum capable of holding just 511 rounds, the full ammunition drum can be unloaded in just over 5 seconds. The drum fits neatly behind the pilot's ear.
Opponent there.
Vibration from firing outside is jarring for many pilots.
It is such a small fight. When you, and I think I've said this before, when you get into an F-16, you sit down, you strap into that, it's not like you're shooting a jet, it's like you're wearing a jet. And the gun is right here.
An opponent. They're far away.
Sit there in the cockpit. The gun.
Someone's out there.
The muzzle is right back. And so when you shoot the gun, around the second, 20 millimeters, it is unbelievably violent in the jet. You're thinking about the target that you have to go and shoot. And so, one of my experiences flying the F-16 when I was teaching as an instructor pilot at New Air Force Base in Phoenix, Arizona.
Spotted an enemy.
So
there.
I had the privilege of taking in Air Force pilots. They're wearing wings. They graduated Air Force pilot training, but they're not fighter pilots yet. And putting them into an F-16, and then we would make sure that everybody shot the gun in training, that they had the qualify for the gun. And so the first time experience for anybody shooting the gun in an F-16 is a little bit of an emotional experience. People would say funny things, they would cuss. It was all on the tapes, the recordings.
We'll be toasted by the ring if we don't move.
They knew that they were going to be shooting at a target on the ground straight. And so it's a little bit intense. You're trying to put the pistol on the target, you pull the trigger for the first time, and yet shakes violently. It's like somebody started up a chainsaw just in your left. Shoot, it's a little bit of an emotional thing. And after that, you're focused on, I need to put those rounds on the target. So the F-16 is incredibly well integrated as far as weapon systems with that gun. And I will tell you that the code for air ground
There's an enemy.
where we're shooting at a banner. There's not been a lot of actual air-to-air dogfighting with the gun in recent memory, but the F-16 is incredibly interesting at air-to-air practice targets to the point of it's almost not even fair. It used to be kind of a scoring, kind of a skill thing, and now you can just park the pipper on the target, open up, and it just shreds anything you point at in terms of an air-to-air target. And then in terms of air-to-ground, you can be extremely precise with it. It's not quite a laser beam, but you can be extremely precise. And there's even ways that you can couple up other sensors on the aircraft and share information, even in a at night, blacked out type of close air support role. You can hit what you want to hit on the ground.
All from a gun hidden away inside the tiny fighter. If we follow this leading edge straight down the wing, we come to another device designed to increase lift at high angles of attack, the leading edge flap. It deflects downwards during high angle of attack maneuvers to delay stall, allowing air to remain attached to the wing surface. When performing a sustained turn at 0.9 Mach at cruising altitude, it increases lift by 18% and decreases drag by 22%. You can see them actuate here during the 5G takeoff I performed with the Thunderbirds back in 2019. The seam between the leading edge flap and the main wing is barely noticeable, and fitting a control system into this wing, which is only around 4 centimeters thick where the actuator system needed to fit, proved a challenge. The amount of torque needed to actuate a control surface like this at 0.9 Mach is not trivial. To solve this problem, power is transferred from 2 hydraulic motors, which convert the pressure in the hydraulic system into rotational motion. The hydraulic drive motor itself is tucked away behind the 61 rotor cannon, next to the hydraulic motor that drives the cannon's rotation and panel drive system. This power has to be transferred to the wing, and this is done through a series of fork shafts, angular gearboxes, and then another series of fork shafts with rotary actuators in between. This leading edge flap is not controlled by the pilot, however. It's controlled automatically by the flight computer, and the F-16 was groundbreaking in this regard. The F-16...
My #1 fan's watching, so you know I'll be fantastic.
Every control surface, the leading edge flaps, flaperons, rudder, and the horizontal tail of the F-16.
Reckless and full of wrecks. Let's go!
A fly-by-wire system uses a network of sensors, wires, and computers, as well as the pilot's own input to control the plane. The F-16 was deploying this new technological wizardry to allow it to efficiently spend the energy in a single jet.
Introducing your champion.
Traditional control system.
So many willing test subjects.
Directly to the pilot's controls.
I'm the jump master. No straying, no.
Force control system. A heavy and complicated...
Hey, maybe we land here. Or maybe we don't. I'm fine with whatever.
Grappling makes things much easier. Try it sometime.
Attached to the pilot's stick. A mechanism...
You're gonna see a lot of me.
...harder to pull the stick to use the base. An analog feedback system. To provide the pilot with
By the time you see me coming, I'll be going, and you'll be gone.
Maybe we land here. Or maybe we
By
don't.
the
I'm
time
fine
you
with
see me
whatever.
coming, I'll be going, and you'll be
I
gone.
say we land here. Enough lambing around. We dropping.
Loud and clear.
And they had made the F-111 previously.
Range close. 1 more minute.
On the F-111 had a small joystick that they could use to steer the attack radar. And that was a force-based unit. It wasn't really a joystick or a user.
First fatality.
So they took that same concept and
45 seconds. Rings just up ahead.
Sort of a General Dynamics thing of we've got a force transducer, a control inspector, is what you call that. So what it turns out though is that the
30 seconds until the ring closes. You like cutting it close, huh? I think that.
Knowing where your limbs, hands are moving.
Found an extended energy mag here.
Of your
Level
body,
1.
something that you naturally do pretty well, and that is something called proprioceptive feedback. Well, when I have a force-based receptor,
Ultimate's good to go.
Proprioceptive feedback anymore. And it's really hard to judge. It's something that I think if you challenge yourself, you'll pick up a small weight at the gym and ask yourself, how much does that weigh?
Gotta hop up here. Turbo
It's
charger.
actually kind of hard to guess when you're down in those 3-pound range. Like the maximum force in 20 or 16 5 is 25 pounds. So it's kind of hard to tell the difference between 15 pounds and 15.2. You don't do very well with that. You do a lot better with knowing how far we
Kill leader
So
appointed.
people have 16
New
control
kill leader. Go on, watch
interviews,
out.
And what pilots found is that they were having a difficult time, because pilots and others were having a difficult time judging exactly how far they would
Attention.
move the control.
Delivery
They
care
would think they
package.
were going to get a certain response from the jet, and then
You
they
hear
weren't,
that?
and then they'd pull
There's a care
harder,
package
too
coming
hard,
down.
and then they get a different response. There is a phenomenon called pilot-induced oscillation, or pilot-in-the-loop oscillations. Sometimes it's referred to as PIO. And the F-16, even to this day, particularly if you have a lot of wind slope, can have a little bit of a wing rot.
Bamboozles with the foozles.
some
Yeah, I
videos
said it.
of exit
Found an
team
extended
going,
energy
some
mag
of
here.
these
Level 3.
there's wing tanks, they're
Yeah,
bringing
I
back
could use
some
that.
bombs, they're doing stuff.
Listen up, I'm calling a lifeline package in.
Do this little back and forth, of having a side stick that doesn't move very much, because it's one of those things that, in terms of the mind to the hand, eye-hand coordination, you start to make a movement. By the time you see the effect, it's more than you wanted. So you take it out, you put in a correction. By the time the correction takes effect, it's more than you wanted. You see it, you come back.
Optics here. Close range.
Now, PIO is kind of a dirty word in aircraft design. Nobody wants any PIOs. I tell you, PIOs.
It's go time. Got extra supplies here? Don't need to thank me.
And some snakes are very dangerous, and some snakes are not. And so the PIO that's remaining in F-16, in terms of its wing rock and funnel, is not super dangerous.
These pilot-induced oscillations
Optics
can also be naturally
Close
stabilized through passive stability, where the plane naturally self-corrects itself without pilot input. However, the F-16 was the first aircraft in history to do away with passive stability and make the plane intentionally unstable in flight. This was done because it lowers the
Ultimate
energy
accelerant
needed to
here.
fly and maneuver. We can understand why with this simple analogy. Here we have two situations. A ball placed on top of a hill and a ball placed in a valley. If we push the ball on top of the hill even a tiny bit, it will begin to accelerate down the hill and will not stop until we
There are bad guys that way.
What
if they're talking about your back? Be right there. Hopefully it's good things.
The opposite is true with the ball in the valley. Apply a force and the ball will roll uphill and gravity will restore force to break the band. It may oscillate back and forth a few times.
Got it covered over here.
Stop, but it
I'm
will
with you. You need
eventually
backup.
return to its original position. This is a stable system. We want to tailor our stability to find a balance between these two scenarios, where we can cause a rapid change in direction with a small energy input, while also managing the amount of energy required to get back to our original position. This is called relaxed static stability. When it pitches upwards, the force of the horizontal stabilizer decreases because of reduced airflow. And as a result, the weight of the plane acting through the center of gravity forward of the center of lift once the movement is downward. Plus, the pilot is trying to push the plane up, and this natural stability is fighting. So, more kinetic energy has to be wasted by converting it to lift with an increased deflection.
Charge complete.
You even die slow. Hurry up, I have stuff to do.
Thanks to those leading edge strakes pushing the center forward. This means to balance the plane, the horizontal stabilizer needs to create upwards lift. This is useful lift and reduces the energy needed to keep the plane airborne, and increases our maximum lift, pushing this line on our energy stability diagram up, increasing our turn rate. However, it's an unstable system. When the plane pitches up, it increases the angle of attack on the wing and increases the lift. Because the center of lift is ahead of the center of gravity, this forces the nose up even more. In an air-to-air battle, energy isn't just a fuel cost. Energy is needed to maneuver. As we spend it, our ability to maneuver diminishes until we replenish it by gaining speed and energy again.
Any fighter pilot will tell you, speed is life. And as a fighter pilot, energy management is one of the most important things that you can do. It's part of your situational awareness in that combat arena. You don't want to get slow, and you don't want to put yourself in a place where you are vulnerable, and now I can't turn, I can't move, I can't get my center, my left shape where I need to. And that's not just an air-to-air thing. That's every aspect of the fighter pilot, and that's even engaging. With the energy management on the F-16, it's interesting that there's a step that we really talk in terms of feedback to the pilot. It doesn't really shake, rattle,
Ring's closing.
vibrate.
I like pushing limits as much as the next guy, but we gotta go.
I've flown the F-16, I've also flown the F-15, the F-18, the A-10, and those aircraft will talk to you, those other aircraft will talk to you a lot more than the F-16. The F-16 just feels smooth.
Someone's out there. They're far.
I
bet that care package has some... Got one spotted.
Someone else is over there.
So managing your energy becomes...
Bad dude's over there.
Spotted. Taking fire.
And so a lot of that's helped now with the...
Recharging my shield.
Over here. We could check out here.
You and me now.
Draganosaurus
I need
says,
light ammo.
MB.
New kill leader. Show off. Hells yeah. Half the squads are toast.
At the console to see how fast I'm going in that line. You get the feel for it, you get a feel for how the aircraft is responding, but that's where experience comes in.
Hang on, I'm crafting.
Bad guys, let's do this.
Taking fire. Shooting.
Drop shocked and rocked. Say hello to the 401st.
This instability makes the plane extremely nimble.
Draganosaurus says, GG.
Let's go here.
Flight of the F-16 prototype, the YF-16, a flight that was never supposed to happen. This was intended to be a short test along the runway, but the early control logic of the plane would not allow the engine nozzle to open to cut thrust if the wheels had left the ground, meaning even at idle, the plane was generating too much thrust. Then the plane rolled left, which caused the pilot to counterpunct it to roll right on it. But again, the control logic of the current prototype was not dialed in, with control input resulting in higher roll than expected at such a low speed, resulting in an overcorrection, leading to oscillation. With this being the first full fly-by-wire plane, there were many lessons to be learned along the way. But the benefits it now provides are game-changing. It helps the pilot get the most out of the plane.
So, for example, the F-16, the airframe is limited to 9 feet. And so I can go and pull back on the controls on the F-16, and if I am less than about 300 knots or so, say more like 400 knots, I'm not going to get 9 Gs. It's just that's how much lift the aircraft can make. But once I get above about 400 to 450 knots, now the wing on the F-16 is capable of creating at least 9 Gs. In fact, it's capable of creating a lot more than 9 Gs. But what that fly-by-wire system does is when I start pulling back all the way to the stop, it goes to 90 and 60. Even if the wing, even if the aerodynamic effect of the whole airframe is that it can generate 15 Gs, 20 Gs, the fly-by-wire system says, okay, I'm going to ask for that's possible. Or, again, in like a slow speed flight, where I'm having to, it's less than 300 knots, I'm having to crank the nose around to either bring my nose onto the adversary or move 100 inches out of the way of an adversary's fighting system. Full settling on the control of the aircraft, and you're able to...
No breath to steady, no heart to calm.
Right? Well, a lot of
perfection.
This place is something else.
Well,
Let's go.
Doesn't really stall in the same kind of ways, but that fly-by-wire system says, hey,
get up, get ready, something, make it happen.
Bad things are going to start to happen in terms of the controllability. The F-16, stop.
This is your champion.
I never say
until it hurts.
I'm the jump master. AJ Shea leading the way.
And through that, where we use it.
A plane capable of 9 jumps is not much use. The pilot cannot remain conscious during the F-16 has some interesting advantages.
I say we land here.
Traditionally, the control stick is mounted centrally between the pilot's legs. This made it mechanically simple.
Get ready, moving up.
Also allows pilots to use both hands to press and pull surfaces into position during flight. The airflow pilot probably pushed it back down. The F-16, this wasn't a problem. The control stick is mounted immediately and the pilot's constantly holding the resting position as if gravity is
First blood has been taken.
Increasing the pilot's tolerance.
Don't worry about ring fry.
The most
We're in the
common
next ring.
G-force the pilot experiences is directly down. When flying in a straight line, even cells in your body have a motion in that direction. And when suddenly upwards, those cells want to continue traveling in that direction. This isn't too much of a problem for cells to fix, but your blood cells are free to travel through your body. And in a scenario like this, they race in the direction of that travel, cooling in your lower extremities. This can starve the pilot's brain of oxygen and can pass out as a result.
Optics here.
This effect
Sniper.
can be minimized by placing the pilot flat on the back. With the entire body aligned, blood wouldn't have to fight gravity to get to the brain. But this position isn't practical. The F-16 found a compromise with 30-degree recon, reducing the pressure on the heart
Sniper
by an
stock
equivalent of about
Level
50
2. It'll take time off your
also
reload.
makes it easier to put smaller pilots into the small forward fuselage of the F-16. Another measure to reduce the pilot's tolerance is the
Peacekeep Eva Edge here.
GC. Air bladders that are connected directly to the F-16. When the plane is disrupted or the action maneuver, it immediately begins to pump compressed air into the bladders. This squeezes the pilot's legs to limit the volume available for blood to move into. The F-16 is a 45-year-old aircraft. Many advances have occurred in aviation since its early flight. Stealth technology and interconnected intelligence networks have been the main focus of fifth-generation aircraft since the F-35 that have been slowly
Deploying head drone.
The champion has proved unworthy of the name.
The F-16 pushes the boundaries
Attention.
of capability
Delivering
for a
care
fighter
package.
aircraft and the pilot inside.
Care package coming
It's
down.
a
Help
highly
load you need
capable
gear or
aircraft.
attack.
The strongest Air Force in the world, being capable of continuing service until 2048. The plane will be a major asset in the next phase of the fight for Ukraine's freedom, providing essential air support to
Thermal stabilizer here. Level 1.
forward through entrenched Russian defenses. Ukraine has been targeting long-range
Backpack
anti-aircraft
here.
batteries
Level
with
2.
success.
Laser sight here. Level 2.
Off the coast of Crimea that were transferred to Russian sensors, all to clear the way
New
for
kill leader
Ukrainian
appointed.
force to get close enough to
New
launch
kill
those
leader.
missiles, targeting
Surely
high-value
you can take the
Russian
title
assets
from
in
them.
Crimea, including a Kilo-class submarine. The F-16 can also carry these cruise missiles. Every asset in the Ukrainian Air Force is going to play a vital role in Ukraine's fight for freedom. Having an actual fighter pilot add context to the story was incredibly valuable, helping us truly understand the power of those energy maneuverability diagrams. Ian had for nearly 2 hours.
Additional supplies here.
Story from the studio about how he helped develop automatic obstacle avoidance systems for the F-16 that has saved many lives. A fascinating system that works in a way I didn't expect. I had assumed it simply used radar to measure distance, but that was not how it works. You can watch that extra video on Nebula right now, along with an uncut explanation of the energy maneuverability diagrams. Access usually
Backpack
costs
here.
$5
Level 2.
You can get access
Optics
right now
here.
to the huge
Sniper.
discounted price of $250 a month using the link in the description. Bonus videos are just $20. You will also get ad-free versions of our videos at a fraction of the price of YouTube Premium, with YouTube cracking down on ad blockers. This is the best way to support our channel while not having to pay
Ultimate
ads
accelerant
while
here.
being reviewed experience, something I find really valuable while watching long-form videos. When I am taking flights, I often download videos from Nebula, which you can do by the way, and watch them on your flight. You will also get access to our original World War II series, which is D-Day and the Battle of Britain, as well as real-life Loris modern conflict series that deep dives into conflicts like the war in Ukraine, along with originals from some of your favorite creators.
Come and get your birthday present.
Neo and Windows Productions. Nebula is simply the best place to watch our videos. All for the price of $250.
I'm going there. You would be wise to follow.
Evo shield here. Level 2. A quick swap is better in fight. Pretend she can't get to you.
And with the engineering help and wizardry of
New kill leader.
Some
Surely you can take the title from
To
them.
me, some of the most hilariously intriguing controversies in online discourse are those involving bootleg. Yes, we've all seen these viral stories showing knockoff products, copycat Chinese companies, and blatantly obvious instances of intellectual property theft.
You
Some
legends
cases
are
so
blessed with
egregious
abundance.
that it's downright comical. From fake Jordans with phallic appendages
An opponent.
to
They're far
offensive
away.
Asian KFC
Not bad.
ripoffs replacing
I'm
the
under
cover
fire.
of Barack Obama
Engaging.
to video games illegally using Disney characters to
Getting shot at.
simulate
Anti-
C-section surgery. The imagination of bootleggers is seemingly limitless. And today
Broke their
I'll be
shield.
taking you on a tour through
Reloading.
some of the brands, knockoff products, and
Recharging my
companies
shield.
that
Don't worry
have
about
been
me.
wrapped up in bootlegging controversies. Some of these stories ending in
Beginning ring countdown.
Today's video is sponsored by Keeps, and to begin the ad, let me show you my hair from some old videos back in 2020. Yeah, your boy was losing hair and losing it back. I didn't want to go bald, so I decided to do something
Replicator
about
on
my
its
hair
way
loss
down.
and got started with Keeps, and the results have been pretty insane. Here's me at 6 months after starting Keeps, a year after starting, almost 2 years after starting, and here's me now, 3.5 years after starting Keeps, and your boy's looking pretty good. Keeps offers generic versions of the 2 FDA-approved hair loss products at a can't-beat price, and best of all, you skip the trip to the doctor's office and pharmacy. Keeps will set you up with a prescriber online and ship your prescription right to your front door, and in 4 to 6 months you should start seeing results. Look, I've been using Keeps for most of my YouTube career at this point. It works, and if you're a guy that's having some anxiety about hair loss, there's no better time than now to start Keeps. To get started, you guys can go to keeps.com/wavy and use code WAVY to take advantage of their special offer. Big thanks to Keeps for sponsoring. So how about a story involving a very recent case of bootleg? The Mexican Buc-ee's incident. Buc-ee's is a staple of Texas, and it's successfully extended to other
Check it.
regions of
Got
the
some
United
materials
States
for
good
us.
reason. We're talking locations with over 200 fuel tanks, a sprawling market filled wall-to-wall with signature snacks, beverage, and Funky the Beaver merchandise. A hot bar, constantly serving fresh brisket sandwiches, baked goods, and
Don't worry,
now,
I got
aside
a
from all
squad
the
mate
amenities
spanner.
that they provide,
Don't worry, I
Buc-ee's
got
has
a
also
squad
become
mate spanner.
successful in part due to the popularity of their logo, or mascot, Bucky the Beaver. Their beaver mascot is found on practically every product.
Got some materials here.
I bet you've seen some folks in your town wearing shirts or hats.
Got some
And
materials
with a
here.
business and intellectual property as hot as Buc-ee's, it's no surprise that some out there have attempted to illegally make use of some of Buc-ee's trademarks. Which brings us to the bizarre case of the Mexican Buc-ee's.
Looks like I'm inside the ring.
On July 23rd of 2023, a photo was uploaded to Facebook by a man named Ramon Montalongo. The caption, which has been translated from Spanish to English, reads, "You are not going to believe this."
Is it my birthday already?
Out of the city of Matamoros, Mexico. Ramon's photo appears to have exposed his image showcases the seal that Ramon
Evo shield here. No, shield battery here. Shield battery here.
They tried to destroy me, but I keep coming back.
I returned from the other side.
Grotesque-looking buck-toothed rat creature. Jesus fucking Christ, look at this family dollar ass Buc-ee's we got here. So as you can clearly see, the
Heavy ammo here. Hemlock here. Optics here. Sniper. Heavy ammo here. Hemlock here. Heavy ammo here. Never mind.
Would subsequently go viral on Facebook. The comment section
Energy nemesis here. Med kit here.
Laughing emojis. However, when news of this bootleg Buc-ee's made it back to Buc-ee's in Texas, well, the company wasn't taking this as any kind of joke, and as a matter of fact, they were pretty pissed off about it. Several days after being made aware of the Mexican Buc-ee's, they put out this statement. The Buc-ee's brand represents clean restrooms, freshly prepared food, and great service. Buc-ee's has invested heavily in innovation across the company to create and maintain these award-winning guest experiences. Accordingly, Buc-ee's will not stand as an idle spectator while others use without permission the intellectual property that Buc-ee's has cultivated for decades. And after this statement, there were rumors
over there.
around that Buc-ee's was going after Buc-ee's legally. It's important to note that Buc-ee's has somewhat of a track record of going after companies legally for copyright that have actually been pretty successful in these regards. For example,
Not all of
in
us are in the ring.
2018, Buc-ee's
That's a
won a
risky
federal
move.
trademark lawsuit against a Texas barbecue restaurant chain called Choke Canyon Barbecue. The basis of this suit being
Got a
that Choke
replicator
Canyon
coming
had
down.
violated their trademark by using this logo and mascot. A hat-wearing alligator flashing a smile in front of a yellow background, looking up and to the left. Putting Choke Canyon next to Buc-ee's, you can kind of see where the company was coming from here. And with both joints being known for their barbecue brisket, I can understand why Buc-ee's had some qualms with this. In the time since Buc-ee's has made their comment on the Mexican bootleg, it appears the fake Buc-ee's store has completely redesigned their mascot and front signage, in what seems to be an effort to placate the company and possibly avoid future litigation. As you can see, the mascot has lost the red cap and has gone through a complete makeover. Looks like he grew a little bit of a mullet, too. Which is fucking hilarious to me, though, because
Ultimate accelerant here.
redesign done, it almost appears like they're kind of stealing the generic chipmunk. As of now, I can't find any evidence of a lawsuit being filed against the company, but considering this is a recent story, I wouldn't be surprised if an update comes.
Here's your birthday present.
And here we are. Only the fast food staple, this chicken has become the famous.
Taking fire.
And the thing is, many Asian merchants and entrepreneurs working in franchise. In some cases, when individuals
You know it just
can't
us.
easily take
We got to watch
advantage
each
of
other's
internal
back.
branding, they get a little creative. And that's what brings us to the story of Obama Fried Chicken, or OFC. Now, coming up 2011,
New kill leader, as I'm from.
showing what appeared to be a KFC restaurant.
Grenade!
Message of then President Barack Obama smiling from ear to ear. The slogan at the bottom of the sign will be translated to saying, "We're so good, aren't we?" The restaurant was called OFC, aka
Pass me that
Obama Fried
sugar.
Chicken. So not only was this restaurant infringing on KFC's IP with them basically stealing the brand theming, the inclusion of Barack Obama here in the context of it being a fried chicken restaurant is extremely questionable to say the least. The owner of this restaurant would be identified as 21-year-old
Ring closes
Chinese
in a minute,
man
but we're
Sue Allen. Initially, his motives for including Obama in his branding were unclear, but many made their own assumptions. Naturally, the logo sparked quite the outrage in the West, and KFC wasn't all too happy about it. When the story hit the
45
US,
seconds, rings close.
the Obama Fried Chicken restaurant and said it was closed, insulting, offensive, and racial stereotypes. KFC China spokesman echoed this sentiment and stated they were
Just giving my shields a recharge.
Quote, "We're considering legal action as it's a knockoff and has nothing to do with us and infringes on our brand trademark. We find it distasteful."
Getting some damage over here.
Matter in a way backfired for KFC.
10 seconds.
KFC these guys literally commissioned a Chinese KFC commercial earlier in that same year that had an Obama lookalike in it.
Not only for your mom, but for you, for your stomach, for a better
No. So
in fairness to KFC, they would later apologize for this commercial, stating, quote, "It was meant to be a spoof and no disrespect was intended." And I really don't think they meant any harm by this. The commercial was more so about Obama's change slogan. You know, they're changing from KFC chicken sandwiches to, hey, we also have fish sandwiches too. Whatever the case, there were some folks that were upset about that commercial. But anyways, back to OFC. Even the Chinese locals were upset about Obama fried chicken, as apparently Zoo's Obama chicken was actually quite delicious and popular with customers. And thanks in part to the recognizability of Zoo's KFC-style branding, his shop was outselling and outcompeting nearby street food merchants. During this swirling controversy, it seemed like everyone in the world had weighed in on it, except for Zoo himself. In October of 2011, a news crew would manage to catch up with Zoo outside of his OFC restaurant and finally asked him why he used Obama as the mascot for his fried chicken joint. The answer might not be what you expected. In this interview, Zoo would explain that he had somewhat of an Obama obsession and deeply admired the U.S. president for what he describes as having a positive attitude and cheerful smile. He claims that he had no intention of being offensive or violating KFC's trademark or invoking any racial stereotypes. Keep in mind, this story took place back in 2011, which was during Obama's first term, and this was probably the peak of the man's international popularity. He was famous all over the world. The man was loved by many internationally due to his charismatic persona. In fact, some folks would actually capitalize off of the love for Obama, often making fake bootleg Obama merchandise and using him in logos for their own trade benefits. So it's possible that Zoo got caught up in this frenzy, but maybe was ignorant of the sort of Western stereotype that he maybe inadvertently engaged in here. It's really tough to say, but I'm almost willing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt because he seems like more of an Obama fan than anything. In an apparent effort to placate KFC in their legal threats, Zoo would eventually change the name of OFC to UFO, and after some pressure from local authorities, he would reluctantly remove the infamous Obama fried chicken sign. Despite the massive worldwide discourse that followed this controversy, you might be surprised to find that Zoo was never legally pursued by KFC in any serious capacity. And as far as we know, he continues to operate restaurants to this day. And that was the story of Obama fried chicken. In this video, we previously discussed the Obama fried chicken incident, a case where a Chinese man used the face of a world leader to sell chicken. And while that's indeed quite bizarre, what if I told you there was a case of a chicken salesman who rebranded his restaurant featuring logo and iconography of one of the most infamous world leaders ever? Yes, this is the story of Hitler Fried Chicken. In 2013, a man from London was on vacation in Bangkok, Thailand, when he came across a curious fast food restaurant. He took a photo of the place and published his findings to the internet. And then Spooner's tweet quotes the Londoner who discovered, quote, very bizarre fried chicken shop in Thailand. Did you not? With a picture of Hitler and a bow tie. Taking a look at the image, we see that the fast food joint had apparently swapped the face of Colonel fan of the genocidal Führer, and was using Hitler to further its chicken-selling goals. And what you might find surprising is that this restaurant was said to have been somewhat popular with locals, getting rave reviews. Hitler Chicken had opened in June of 2013, and on its menu were fried chicken, burgers, and kebabs. A Western traveler who visited the spot said, quote, "I went in for a bite last week and got some fried chicken, which was pretty good. I asked the guy behind the counter why it was called Hitler. He just shrugged his shoulders and said the owners had thought it was a good image." I couldn't think of a fucking better image to represent my chicken restaurant. You know, guys? Seriously. So naturally, this post would go somewhat viral online for just the fucking batshit juxtaposition that we got going on here. Hitler Chicken would leave the online world scratching their heads. Why would anybody use Hitler as their mascot? And not only that, why was it working? Well, to better make sense of this bizarre marketing ploy, allow me to introduce you to what has been dubbed as Nazi chic. Nazi chic has been described as the use of style, and pop culture related to Nazi Germany. Throughout the 2010s, Nazi chic had become somewhat of a fad within Southeast Asia, Thailand in particular. It was quite popular with the youth, who were the ones who were the most ignorant of Hitler's deeds and symbolism. In fact, it's said that at the time that it wasn't all too uncommon to find school children dressing up as Nazis, and bootleggers were selling Nazi-themed t-shirts and artwork around the country because people wanted this type of apparel. And while it's impossible to say why this symbolism was so popular in Southeast Asia at the time, I'll just go back to what I said earlier. I think you had a lot of young people who were just completely ignorant about what Hitler did. I think the Holocaust is something we know way more about as Westerners, and maybe, it's not really talked about that much in Asia. To exemplify the popularity of Nazi chic at the time, there was once a case in 2016 involving a Taiwanese high school orchestrating a Christmas parade, wherein the students dressed up and marched in Nazi-themed uniforms, performing Zig Heils and constructing a cardboard tank to boot. And apparently the theme of this parade was voted on by the students themselves. This parade would go viral online and drew international criticism, resulting in the school administrators being humiliated and later apologizing for the parade. Quote, "When reviewing the parade beforehand, we failed to closely consider the meaning of the historical fact." I mean, seriously, it's like they're treating the guard as like a fucking Halloween costume, you know? And with this context explained, let's return back to Hitler Fried Chicken. When this image went viral in the West, many were confused, but a lot more were outraged by it, understandably so. And considering the fact that Hitler's face was swapped with Colonel Sanders and they were using the KFC theming, it was only a matter of time before the KFC people came after this Hitler Chicken place. After discovering the viral Hitler Fried Chicken image, the company would make a statement regarding the shop. "We find it extremely distasteful and are considering legal action since it's an infringement of our brand trademark and has nothing to do with us." These threats appeared to successfully have spooked the owners, as after KFC spoke up, Hitler Fried Chicken changed its name to Hler and allegedly took a sign down featuring the KFC-style branding. There's not much else to report about this story, and it's said that Southeast Asia's fascination with Hitler still remains to this day, at least in a smaller proportion. In the world of fictional restaurants, the Krusty Krab might just be the most iconic. Owned and operated by Eugene Krabs of Bikini Bottom, this penny-pinching crustacean has made a great fortune over the years off the backs of SpongeBob and Squidward. Krabs' arch nemesis is rival fast food restaurant owner Sheldon J. Plankton, who restlessly attempts to steal Mr. Krabs' Krabby Patty secret formula. You might say that Plankton is an intellectual property thief, of sorts. But as we all know, Plankton has yet to be successful at stealing Mr. Krabs' formula. But what if I told you that a Texas-based restaurant...
Okay, pick Eagle. Team Eagle.
When a company called Pixie Universal opened a SpongeBob-themed pop-up restaurant in Houston, Texas,
I'll go with you guys. It's even. Is this how it works then? Like this? And then we're just random after that?
Pulled out all their stops when it comes to looking like the real Krusty Krab. The Rusty Krab sold SpongeBob-themed food items and drinks, Krabby Patties included. And the restaurant's interior featured an admittedly impressive real-life...
Yo, any of you guys got mics? Can you hear? Hello,
However,
hello.
while the theming was well executed, the food and drink quality wasn't getting the ravest of reviews. Customers complained about having to pay for a ticket to get in.
Wait, it says Chris is playing. Where's he at?
Were high as well, and an excessive amount of mandatory gratuity was added to each bill. Which is hilarious to me because all the stuff I just mentioned sounds like some shit that Mr. Krabs would pull in the Krusty Krab. Now keep in mind, this restaurant was in no way licensed by Nickelodeon or SpongeBob. And that begs the question, at the time, Mr. Chan claimed that the Rusty Krab was an artistic interpretation of the fictional restaurant and had no affiliation with the actual brand. The website
Yeah, I don't hear shit without it, right?
Authorized, endorsed by, or in any way officially connected with Nickelodeon or the SpongeBob brand,
Yeah, I didn't hear
or
anything.
any of its subsidiaries or its affiliates. This is Kepi HTX's artistic adaptation recreation of an amazing series that added value to our childhood. So yeah, they were very much forthcoming that they had nothing to do with SpongeBob. It's not like they were trying to hide from it. And it's almost as if they seem like they would be protected legally by some sort of parody exemption under IP or trademark law. In this news interview, a woman named Asha, who was apparently affiliated with ownership, candidly spoke about the show and how it was her dream to open a Krusty Krab style diner one day.
She is the owner, and you helped bring the Rusty Krab to life. Talk about this experience.
Yes, I've been fans literally since I was about 10 years old, so this is a lifelong dream of mine to be able to recreate something that was so nostalgic in my childhood. I really wanted to be able to feel like people actually being in the Bikini Bottom, and I think we have a
Despite the complaints from prices, the Rusty Krab would be somewhat of a popular attraction in Houston, but its virality online would be an issue, as eventually it found its way back to Viacom CBS, the at-the-time owners of SpongeBob. On May 25th of 2021, Viacom sent a cease and desist letter to the Rusty Krab. However, after receiving this letter, the very next day, the Rusty Krab announced that it was extending its run through August 1st, and that tickets would be available to enter until the end of 2021. Taking this into consideration that the Rusty Krab wasn't going to receive a cease, Viacom decided they were just going to do it. In their last Viacom comments that the restaurant featured illustrations and designs that were workers dressed up just like the characters from the show. As a defense, the owners of Pixar Universal would state that the Rusty Krab was made as parody, and that their imitation of the restaurant should be allowed under parody exemptions and copyright law. However, unfortunately for the Rusty Krab, a judge would disagree, as it was later determined that the Rusty Krab had violated Viacom's intellectual property rights. As a result of this lawsuit, the company behind the creation of the Rusty Krab was ordered by the courts to pay $6 million in copyright damages to Paramount, who had recently acquired Viacom, as well as the transfer of all Rusty Krab's online domain. Well, I gotta say I'm honestly kind of conflicted on this one because of the videos that I've seen of the inside of the Rusty Krab, they did a damn good job of imitating the version of the restaurant. So, I guess the next thing I'd like to ask is, like, Paramount, can you guys make your own Rusty Krab and Universal or whatever fucking part Nickelodeon is associated with? That would be pretty sick. But that was the story of the Rusty Krab. In this next story, we'll be looking at a bootleg adjacent mystery that began all the way back in 2001. That mystery only being solved as recently as 2021. This is the strange case of the curiously named business Microsoft Binbo's. This internet mystery all begins on July 20th of 2001 on Outsmart, a Japanese blog managed by a man in his 50s named Yoshinori Adachi. On this day, Adachi would post a blog entry titled Microsoft Windows. It contained an image of what appeared to be an electronics store of the same name. And on the surface, this looked like the store owner was attempting to create like a bootleg version of a Microsoft store. Adachi took and uploaded the photo himself, simply finding the obvious Microsoft-inspired theming of the business to be humorous. While at face value, the name Microsoft Bimbo seems like nothing more than an amalgamation of random vowels and consonant sounds, there's actually more than what meets the eye here. The word Microsoft being used as the Japanese pronunciation of Microsoft can sometimes sound like this when spoken natively, and the word bimbo is a Japanese word that can be roughly translated in English to mean cheap. So add these two together, you get Microsoft Bimbos, a store that sells cheap electronics/computer parts. The Microsoft Bimbos post on Adachi's House Room blog wouldn't see much attention initially, and would soon be forgotten, as few visitors were paid.
No! I got out of that.
Microsoft Bimbos image started to play on the Western internet, and the image became a popular meme on subreddits like r/crappy opera, with many pointing to the business as a cliche Asian bootleg company. However, at this point, the attribution to Adachi had been lost, and nobody really knew the source of this image. This was problematic because many were wondering where this business was located and what it did, as some wanted to actually go there and check it out. As Microsoft Bimbos grew as a meme, its popularity expanded to a small legion of internet detectives, who would then task themselves with cracking the Microsoft Bimbos mystery. One such individual was YouTuber Nick Robinson, who in 2021 managed to rediscover Adachi's long-lost Alpworm post that was published nearly 20 years prior regarding Microsoft Bimbo. Nick would then arduously spy over Adachi's blog post and report his findings to his large viewer base. In a subsequent video, he would communicate these findings, reading several comments found in the old blog in his report. One old comment to the blog revealed that Microsoft Bimbos had actually closed down since Adachi authored his post in 2001. Here are some of the messages authored by Adachi and an anonymous user on the old blog. Used PC and parts shop Microsoft Bimbos. It's a suspicious name. It's a parody of Microsoft Windows. It's a used PC and parts shop. In other words, it's a hardware store, right? That's true, but the name is Microsoft. Is that okay with such a name? The logo mark is just the reverse of the Windows name. I think Microsoft won't complain. Wouldn't be strange to come, though it appears the store closed around the end of 2002. Nick found that Adachi's blog post also featured the location of where the man took the famous Microsoft Bimbos photo. This picture was apparently taken by Adachi in Maebashi City in Kogimachi, Japan. Nick's visit to this long-lost ancient blog post answered a lot of questions regarding the Microsoft Bimbos mystery that had sprung up in the early 2010s. However, the biggest question was where exactly was the Microsoft Bimbos building? Yes, according to Adachi, it had been closed down, but people still wanted to know where this place was. Not one to leave stones unturned, Nick refused to yield on his quest to fully solve the Microsoft Bimbos puzzle. And with unwavering dedication to the cause, he then tasked himself to scan the entirety of Maebashi City using Google VR, in the hopes of basically brute forcing his way into finding the old Microsoft Bimbos building. Basically looking around and seeing if he could find a structure that matched the image. One might say this would be like finding a needle in a haystack. However,
thanks, that's my teammate. I can't even see.
Hours of what likely at the time felt like a hopeless endeavor, Nick Robinson stumbles upon a miracle. The madman actually fucking found the building. Through brute force and a bit of luck, Nick was able to locate the building, which was formerly Microsoft Bimbos. He would publish the address to the internet, and all things considered, that was the end of a 20-year-long internet mystery. Microsoft Bimbos had been solved. Nick's video was met with much fanfare online. As coming from someone who has solved some internet mysteries myself, it's a good feeling and deserves praise whenever someone cracks an old one like this. So shout out to Nick. The cherry on top of this story is that Nick would actually travel in real life to the location of the Microsoft Bimbos sometime after finding it virtually. The Microsoft Bimbos computer hardware store had since been converted into a restaurant, which Nick would eat and drink at. A rather satisfying conclusion to one of the biggest mysteries in internet bootleg history. imagine that few of you are surprised to find Disney in a video about bootlegging. As the owner of some of the most valuable intellectual property in the world, Disney is constantly subjected to bootlegging efforts. Generally, this takes the form of unauthorized retailers selling counterfeit merchandise. And while this is certainly the most damaging form of theft, I honestly think the more intriguing cases of Disney bootlegging have come from people trying to make fake movies and video games using their characters. Take, for example, the case of the Autobots, which is considered to be by some the most egregious and shameless case of Chinese bootlegging ever. Autobots was a movie produced by a Chinese production studio called Blue MTV Movie Studio in 2015. So this is Autobots. Obviously, the name is just straight up jacking the Transformers, but the name really only scratches the surface of the IP thievery we've got going on here. Let's take a closer look at the poster. Taking a look at the movie's poster, you notice another problem. Yeah, this is just straight up cars, and that's like scuffed Lightning McQueen right there. Getting into the film itself, we find that Autobot's plot revolves around an engineer whose experiments result in anthropomorphic vehicles, each with various conflicting personality traits. The vehicles having to work together despite their differences to win difficult races. Autobot's protagonist and shameless Lightning McQueen knockoff is a character dubbed...
Okay, we're done with that. We're gonna do this.